Welcome to Keto Beyond the Couch, episode 240.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Joe.
And we are
two crazy ketos. And if you're new to our channel, welcome.
Yes, welcome. If you're new here, please say hi down below.
Now, here on Two Crazy Ketos, we do different things like recipe videos and we do product reviews. We talk about various keto topics, and every Monday we go live on Keto Beyond the Couch because life exists beyond the couch.
You can find us in different social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
And we have a website, which is twocrazyketos.com, and that's where you're going to find all of our different recipes. Now, we do upload at least 5 new videos every single week, so make sure you subscribe to our channel.
And don't forget to hit the little bell icon, and that way every single time my halo is showing, but it is truthfully a little bit crooked, you'll be alerted to it.
Sorry about that. I don't know why. I think I forgot to turn on like the thing that puts the green screen on.
You know what? It's Monday morning.
Yep.
And we're here. It's not going to be perfect because we're not perfect people, but that's okay.
True. I'm far from perfect.
It doesn't need to be perfect. I love what do we say at church? Everybody's welcome because nobody's perfect and anything is possible.
That's true.
Even you and I could stick to 31 days of triple B&E.
That's true.
We can do this. We
I
can
need
do
to,
hard things.
Because like my weight is up.
Your sleep is down.
My sleep is way down.
Yeah.
And I've had a headache for the last 2 days.
I know. I am so sorry. Do you think you're probably going through a little bit of caffeine withdrawal?
No, because it started like yesterday morning. And like that's not enough time for me to not have caffeine.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know why I've got a headache, but I mean, I haven't had a headache in a long time.
Yesterday,
and I don't like taking medicine.
Right. So we've avoided that.
Yeah.
But yesterday, my triple B&E challenge was put to the test. And that was the moment we got done with our first live stream, I got just a gut-wrenching text message from my sister-in-law, Becky, who's actually part of our 2KK family. Her dog we've been knowing that this was going to happen. Her dog is about to be 18 years old, really been sick for the last couple of years, and we knew that the time was coming to take her to the vet. But it's like when it comes, you're still not expecting it.
Right.
So I was thankful for the opportunity to be with her during that challenging time. But please pray for our sister Becky, who we had to put down her dog Casey yesterday. We've only ever known Casey throughout the entirety of our relationship.
That's right.
Like, I mean,
the dog was old.
The dog was really old. She had children. I mean, when she had, we didn't even have nephews before we had this dog. The dog was first. So it was just a really hard day. And I know that sometimes, even when you're like, it's not even your stress. It's the stress of worrying about somebody else. You can be like, man, I can't fix this situation for this person that I love, and so I'm going to eat my feelings. And I was really thankful to be on triple B&E so that I didn't have an excuse to eat my feelings.
Right.
You know, I was really glad I could just come home and do the right thing.
Roxanne wants to know, am I drinking my electrolytes? Well, I'm not drinking electrolytes because I want flavored ones.
I'm drinking
my can't have flavored
my
ones.
1 cup of coffee.
But I am
just
taking
kidding.
electrolytes, so I took a bunch of electrolytes last night. I'm thinking maybe I'm lower on electrolytes.
Probably.
So I'm kicking it back old school to the Keto Chow electrolyte
The
tablets. They don't have these anymore, and first of all, they're horse pills. That's first of all.
They turn into dust in our humidity, but they have a little bit of a longer shelf life when they're individually
when they
packaged.
were in these packages, they were a little bit longer of a shelf life. So
yeah,
they're sitting on the shelf, so I might as well use them up.
Let's just do it,
instead
because
of
I
the
do think that
capsules.
that's part of it. And
we need to get into Keto Beyond the Couch.
This is not my 1 cup of coffee. This is my water, but it does make it a lot funner to drink the water out of that cup.
So if you are new here,
welcome.
Welcome. Keto Beyond the Couch is all about subscribers. We love to celebrate our subscribers. I got to ignore Chris.
I'm laughing because I owe him because I pulled this out when he was.
We love to celebrate our subscribers, and so every Monday we go live at 10 a.m. For the most part, we try to do this live. where we basically celebrate subscribers. We pick out wins, questions, comments from the last week. If you're new here, we address the chat like the last 10 or 15 minutes of the stream. If you have a question pertaining to whatever we're talking about, you can go ahead and use the super chat function down below, which is the little $sign. Will you stop distracting me?
Carrie always makes fun of the size of my coffee cup, and he's saying that this isn't yet big enough for me. I thought at least this would satisfy Carrie.
So go ahead and use the super chat function down below. It does benefit the channel, but it also highlights our screen. Before we get into this, I need to tell you, you're going to kill me for saying this, but I am making an executive decision.
Oh,
when it comes to this house.
Oh, no.
Yes. I am going to tear apart the walls somehow.
Okay.
And put a bidet in the kids' bathroom. Because I'm tired of every time I have to go to the restroom, somebody goes in there, and it's because it's the only one with a bidet.
Right. It is popular. It is popular among the kiddos.
No, I'm not talking about my children.
You're talking about me?
I'm talking about you. Every single time. And she won't use the other bathroom because there's no bidet.
Well, put a bidet in it.
I'm going to.
Good day to you, sir. Bidet to you, sir.
For the person who was so against me putting that thing in the house, you won't use the other restroom simply because there's no bidet in it, which makes no sense.
If you're gonna have a bidet, you might as well use it. Why wouldn't I?
Let's jump into Keto Beyond the Couch. We're going to start off with, first of all, before we talk about anything, I do want to mention this is the absolute last week. I have to give back any cabins that I have not used by the end of the week. If you're interested in going on the 2KK sail away, the 2KK getaway, I don't know, I've called it two different names. I don't know why. January 8th through January 12th, no speakers, no keto police, just friendship, a way for everybody to hang out. It's January 8th through the 12th. I have 3 ocean view balcony cabins left. I have like 5 inside cabins left. And I have like 1 or maybe 2 ocean views left. Also, Joe, not me, Joe, but the other Joe.
Husky?
I can't pronounce it, and I don't want to.
Joe H.
Get your things. Yeah, there you go. Joe Husky. Okay. Joe is looking for a roommate. He's got an inside cabin, and he's looking for a roommate. And so, top of my head, it's like $400 and something. You guys can share a room. Joe shares rooms with people all the time on the cruises. He's an absolute blast to hang out with.
Yes.
He's also like an expert cruiser. So,
he is.
If you're new to cruising and you feel uncomfortable, you definitely want to room with Joe. And so super excited about that. But this is the last week. I have to give them back at the end of the week.
Definitely
we have 42 people going on the cruise where we're going to hang out. And we're going to have dinner together. Throughout the day, you can do what you want, or you can find us and hang out with us. Rachel's going to come up with a couple of games that we can find a place to do somewhere on the ship on the sea day. It's going to be a blast. Super, super excited about it. People have been asking about the one for next year, the end of next year. I'm shooting for end of October, beginning of November. It really comes down to Ketopalooza. So we all need to get on autumn for Ketopalooza
When is
2024. When is it? And then I'm trying to decide, maybe you guys can help us. Let us know in the group on Mighty Networks. We have a cruising group inside of Mighty Networks at members.2krazyketos.com, completely free to join. And I'm trying to decide between Oasis of the Seas, Freedom of the Seas. Both are 6-day cruises. Oasis is a larger ship, but it costs more money, and we're trying to keep costs down for everybody.
I do know that if you would like to room with Joe, you need to get that request in right away, because if Joe keeps teasing me, he's going to have to room with Joe. So we want to make sure that
Joe's going to have to upgrade to an ocean view balcony. Let's jump in. We're going to start off with our Keto College Adjunct Professor of the Week. It is from Sarah.
Hey, Sarah.
Sarah put up this meme or post or whatever you want to call it. Be proud of yourself for showing gratitude, your resilience in tough times, taking care of yourself, being a supportive friend, having goals and dreams, showing kindness to others, and standing up for yourself.
What a great reminder. There is more to be proud of ourselves for than just how much we weigh.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like sometimes we're like, I will be proud of myself when I look like this. This is the pounds on the scale. But there is more to be proud of than just a number on the scale.
I thought I took out 2 of them because I wanted 4 electrolyte capsules.
You're like the master of distraction this morning.
I am. Well, Chris said, oh, Joe's hitting electrolyte tablets. That's because somebody's hiding the capsules from me. I don't know who. We're going to go into our subscriber of the week. This is an inspirational story that we found, and we love when you guys share your stories. We actually plead with you guys. Please share your stories.
Yes.
Not just because we need content. That's part of it. But more importantly, when you share your story, 2 things happen. Number 1,
you're proud of yourself.
It helps you remember where you came from and helps you be proud of where you are. Listen, I'm not where I want to be, but I'm also not where I was.
Right.
And when I talk about my story, when I look at pictures, when I tell people about it, I'm like, okay, so great. I'm not the 190 pounds that I want to be, but I'm not the 300 pounds that I used to be.
That is so
and
true.
It helps me to remember of everything that I went through, and so that's why it's important to share your story. But also,
you did take out 2 packets. I don't know if you took them both.
I didn't. I only took 1. I thought I took out 10. I must have put it back. The other reason you want to share your story is because there's someone out there right now that is going through what you're going through, and they think they're alone. And when you share your story, it helps to inspire them to realize, you know what? Other people have done this. I can do it too. So please, please, please share your story. And this one we have is from Ronald.
Hi, Ronald.
Ronald said, haven't posted in a while. Amazing transformation. When you think you had a bad week or even a bad month, go back to the beginning.
Yes.
This is what we were just talking about. See what you've accomplished and get a good laugh. Continuing to push the weight off at 150 pounds in 165 weeks is amazing.
Wow.
The other guy's photo was taken in 2020. The skinny guy today, 2023, amazing. Ron's Keto Cafe.
Wow, way to go. You look amazing. And I love the fact that you're saying, remember where you've been, and also, like, have a laugh. This should be a joyful journey, right? Not just, like, mad at ourselves, hard on ourselves, tough on ourselves. Even as we're going through the Triple B and E challenge, let's share some laughs. Let's share some joy. This is a joyful journey. It's not just like nose to the grindstone and like every day is like about hard work and toughness. There's also beauty to behold and fun stuff like all the way through.
Before we go to break, I did want to mention, for the people who had giveaways, Rachel shipped all that stuff out on Saturday. Sorry for the delay. My shipping printer broke, and I didn't want to spend $400 on a new one. And who knew there's a bunch of knockoffs on Amazon that are like $60.
I can see
that do the same thing.
I can see Mom saying, hey, where can you get info for the cruise?
There's a link down below in the description.
So check in the description.
Yep. So, okay.
Young
let's
lady.
take a quick fade to black and come back with comments.
Have you been good, and how good?
Have
you been good today?
While we're talking about cruise, one other thing. If you missed our live stream on Thursday, Debbie Hubbs, who organizes the low-carb cruise.
Which I'm so excited about.
Which we are going on low-carb cruise 2024. Come hell or high water. We are going, I promise, we're not going to miss unless I'm dead. But
please don't be dead.
I'm just saying there's something else that might be happening at that time that would take us off the cruise, and we're already saying no to that event because we're going on the low-carb cruise, right? Super excited about the low-carb cruise.
That's a lot of hidden information there, Joe.
But that's, you'll have to be subscribed to the channel and hit the bell notification to find out why that would happen, but because I can't talk about it right now. But anyway...
We're
going to the one in 2024, leaving out of Port Canaveral. 2025 is being talked about already because low carb cruise 2025. Now we make no money off of you going on the low carb cruise.
No.
Okay, but it is a cool thing to go on.
That we're going on.
Plus, you get to be locked on a ship for 8 days with a bunch of like keto doctors, influencers.
Is that
I don't know
a
who's
selling point?
going on 2025, but people like Dr. Barry or like Dr. Boss, these are from last year. It's a great experience. And 2025 is going to go to Alaska. They're going to Alaska. But here's the thing about the 2025 and Alaska cruises. Alaska cruises, if you know anything about cruising, they only go from May to the end of September for the most part. They get very expensive very quickly, so you want to book them the second they're announced. They announced them about November this year for 2025. Debbie wants to immediately go in and book one, probably on the Ovation of the Seas. It will be an out and back on from Seattle. So it'll leave Seattle, do Alaska, hit somewhere in Canada, come back into Seattle. But the thing about this is the way groups work is she can only hold the rooms for 30 days. After that, you have to have a $50 deposit on every room that you want to hold. And you're talking about a couple of hundred rooms. Obviously, Debbie doesn't have $50 times 200. So what she's asking is if you want to go on 2025, I have a link down below. You can read the whole PDF. For a $50 per person deposit, you can basically let her know, hey, I want to go. I believe, but don't quote me on this, that $50 deposit is refundable, but it gives her an idea of how many cabins to grab and hold on to. And so you go down, you fill out the whole form, and then once they go up for sale, which will be, again, probably the middle to end of November, she'll send you an email saying, okay, here's your cabin. It's like, I think, a $500 deposit, but that'll get you on the low-carb cruise. And know that you've got a spot, because I think it's going to sell out super quick. We've already put our thing in. Ocean view balcony, low-carb cruise, 2025.
It's not like, old school movie style where you used to be like, I'm going to just put my purse in that seat or my coat there and that's my placeholder. No, you got to put some folding money down because a lot of
Because otherwise the cruise line takes it back. They only let you hold it for 30 days.
See that Cindy said that did your mother-in-law passed this past weekend. I am so sorry. We are definitely going to be praying for your family this week. I'm so sorry for your loss.
Okay, let's move into first comments from Christine.
Hi, Christine.
We started keto when our son was 19 and living at home. I cleaned our junk food cabinet and said, this is where you need to keep your personal pantry items. Also, we made the switch that he has to purchase his own food as well.
Cool.
I gave him a shelf and a drawer in our refrigerator and room in the freezer for foods that he purchased. It's worked beautifully that my husband and I can focus on our keto lifestyle. This is awesome. This is what we've done with our children.
Is absolutely awesome. It is not for you to feel bad if you want to designate what is mine and what is the other people that may be not observing a keto way of eating in your home. We respect one another. We give each other space. We honor rooms in our house. Like the boys have their own rooms and that's like their private place for their things. And yes, we do share a communal refrigerator and a communal pantry, but we honor and support one another. And it's like, that's the least that we can do for another human being. I would, if I had a roommate and it wasn't like my family, but it's a roommate or it's a coworker, I can designate this is mine and this is theirs and have those things separate and not touch their stuff and them not touch my stuff if that's the thing that we're doing. So why can't we do that at home?
Right.
Sometimes it's like that would be too hard. Why? It's your family. They love you and you love them and you want to respect one another but also support each other in your goals. I think that was brilliant.
Yeah, and listen, this was even something that was hard for Rachel. About 6 months, a year into keto, I looked at her and said, listen, all of our kids are adults. They may be still our babies. And 2 of them may still be living at home, but they're adults. So here's what I've said to them. We have beef. We have meat. You can have all of that stuff. And we will continue to buy that stuff. However, if you want junk food, I will not buy it. And I had to look at Rachel like, we don't buy sugar. We don't buy bread. If our children want bread or sugar,
they have to pay for it.
They got to go. I won't even give me the money. You got to go buy it. You want that junk food? You go buy it. You both have cars and they've got a section in the house. Now, with little kids, to me, unpopular opinion, I don't think your little children should have a choice. They're little kids. The only way that they get sugar is if we actually buy it for them.
They have no jobs.
If we feel that sugar is a poison, which it is, then why are we giving it to them? That's one of the reasons when we were children's directors, we stopped the candy in church. And that's why we don't give out candy on Halloween. Unpopular with most people, but I'm not going to give people something that I think is a poison.
I was gonna say, if I have to hold it in my hand and be like, I think this is a poison, here you go. Like,
Right.
I would never do that.
Right.
Especially since I know it's highly addictive. I know that it's inflammatory. I know that it causes confusion in our minds and in our
Gonna cause
bodies.
some problems later on.
It causes, I don't want to contribute to someone's unwellness. And I don't see poison as a part of childhood. I understand that we watch the movie Snow White and she eats a poisoned apple. And watching that movie may be a part of childhood. But eating the poisoned apple doesn't need to be a part of childhood, right? Like, we do not need to say, like, sugar is childhood. No. Interaction with you is childhood.
That's right.
Your time invested in your family, that's childhood. That's what makes childhood special.
Next one is from Gina.
Hey, Gina. I recently watched the mac and cheese video and ran to my kitchen and made it immediately. Great side dish option. Thank you.
I love that recipe.
Thanks so much
I really
for
miss it right now.
trying it. I know. I want to make it really, really badly. And I'm like, it's just cheese and shrimp we'd be adding. And I'm like, nope, we said we're not going to do it. We're not going to do it.
Yeah.
It'll keep.
Next one is from Franny.
Hi, Franny.
This was referring to last week where someone said that they messaged someone, the person didn't respond and they giving up. And Franny said, I can think of at least 20 real scenarios where people could not respond to messages. Please don't give up.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, listen, I'm horrible with returning messages. It's not because I don't like you. And it's not just you, it's anybody. Like, I am horrible with it. Why am I horrible with it? Because I get distracted. Because I see an email, you've sent it, somebody sent it, I read it somewhere where I don't have time to respond to it, and I say, I'm going to come back to this, and then I forget to come back to it because it gets buried. It's not because I was trying to be mean.
Can I say something, though? You probably have 100 ongoing conversations going every single day.
Right.
If you miss 5 of those, I'm going to be like you are when it talks about, like, officiating a game. Mm-hmm. If there is 100 calls to make and you mess up one of them, like, are you really unsuccessful? Like, you're doing your best,
but
dude.
I'm unsuccessful with that one person.
Yeah.
And here's the problem is that we don't want you to get into this scenario where I tried and they didn't answer.
And that's it.
And so I'm done because maybe that person's in a situation like me, or maybe they just didn't see it, or maybe they didn't get the email, or maybe it went to spam. I check my spam folder once like a week, and by the time I get to it, there's 1,000 emails in there. So sometimes we miss things. So please don't ever give up on trying to make friendships or find online buddies, because there are a lot of people out there. As a matter of fact, someone was asking about Colorado last week, and Brianna went in there and said, like, hey, I'm available. Who wants to have a meetup?
I was so stinking proud of her. That was awesome.
Yep. Next one's from the Songbird.
Hey, Songbird. I would love to come to Ketopalooza next year. Is it always in Louisville?
Yes. So it's because it's a play on, like, words, really. So it's Keto Paloo, L-O-U, instead of L-L-O, L-O-O. So because Autumn loves keto, and she loves her hometown of Louisville.
And we see why.
She always has it in Louisville. So it's a meetup. It's a family reunion.
It's an awesome
get to
area.
Do a 5K walking, really, through Louisville. It is a great time. So it will, so long as she has it, which she will have it, Autumn, if you're watching, it'll always be in Louisville.
Yeah.
Okay. Next one is from Tanya.
Hey, Tanya. What brand of bologna do you eat? Well, my bologna has a first name. All the ones I've seen have corn syrup in them on the first 5 ingredients.
So this kind of goes to today's topic. First of all, what kind of bologna do you eat? I get the cleanest that I can find. Bologna is a little bit harder. So basically, bologna is a giant hot dog. That's what it is. Mm-hmm. There are clean ones out there. You kind of have to look for them. But when it comes to lunch meat, I kind of use lunch meat as an on-the-go kind of thing, as a last resort. Like, keep some unless I find a really, really clean one. Like, at one point, a couple months ago, we found a very, very clean turkey breast at Costco. And it was on sale for $5 off a package.
You're talking a turkey breast lunch meat.
Turkey breast lunch meat, like sliced turkey breast. and it was $5 a package. So we went through and we found like the 20 cheapest packages because it was by the pound. So if you ever see that, like $5 off a package of beef or something like that, don't buy the biggest one. Buy the smallest ones and then buy several of those because you save more money. Because if it's $5 off of the package, the $25 one is $20 and the $20 one is now $15. So you save more money per pound that way. We bought like 50 of them because it was literally like turkey breast and water.
Yeah,
and we just vacuum sealed them and put them in the freezer. So when it comes to lunch meat, unless you can find something like that, what I like to do is just kind of use it as like, this is my on-the-go food. It's not something that's a part of my everyday life. If you are going to consume lunch meat on keto, you want to try to find ones, they pretty much all have sugar, that have the lower amounts of sugar, lower amounts of dextrose. They use a dextrose syrup usually for like as a preservative. The thing I would avoid the most is ham, because all of the hams are going to have more carbs. But if you go to things like turkey breast, chicken breast, even like salami, what else do we, roast beef, all of those are generally going to be 1 carb or less per serving. And that's the place to go. Bologna, do the best you can. There are clean ones out there, but it's very difficult to find them.
Right. Now, Janice, I see that she said, Joe, did you get my email? Yes, and we did return that email. We did answer you back on that, so check your email.
Next one we have is from Nicolette.
Hey, Nicolette, how does one make Joe's Chili Triple B and E compliant? I know they've talked about it before, or does anyone have a recipe for one?
Okay, we kind of mentioned this on our Triple B and E live stream yesterday, which we're doing another one tonight at 5 p.m. for everybody
live at 5.
The Triple B and E course.
Eastern.
Very difficult to make chili Triple B and E compliant. Now, can you? Yes, because basically what it is, it's a meat stew. So you can put in a bunch of beef, even a bunch of ground pork. Like we're going to have ground beef and ground pork today.
Bacon.
Ground pork, what we do is you find just plain old 80-20 ground pork. So 80-20 ground pork is going to be 1-to-1. That's like having bacon. The problem is all of the spices. Chili spices are high in carbs. I know when you look at the package of chili powder, it says 0 carbs, but that is 0 carbs for 1/4 teaspoon. Well, my chili recipe
has a lot of seasoning.
Take out the fact that I use Keto Chow's tomato basil, which makes it an amazing chili. It's actually an award-winning chili. Take out that. I use like 2 tablespoons of chili powder. Well, 1 tablespoon has 3 teaspoons, which has 12 1/4 teaspoons. So when you multiply that out, there's actually about somewhere around 3 or 4 carbs per tablespoon. Then you add in the cumin and your other spices, and you quickly have racked up carbs. Now, I absolutely love our chili and I have it all the time, but those tend to be like the only carbs I have for the day. But a serving of it is 2 or 3 carbs, even if you don't put vegetables in it. And we pretty much eliminated the peppers and the onions from our chili at this point. It's just beef, pork, and bacon, and then all of the spices. But it's going to be hard because you're going to be adding a lot of spices to it.
So it's delicious, but you are going to want to use it sparingly, even if you're on, especially if you're on Triple B&E.
When it comes to Triple B&E, you want to use your spices sparingly because, again, all the labels are going to say a 0 carbs, but that's for 1/4 teaspoon. So if you can get by with 1/4 teaspoon, you're fine. But if you're going to multiply it out and use a lot of it, just be careful. Things like garlic, they have carbs in them, except for the label says none because it's only 1/4 teaspoon. But every clove of garlic has 1 carb. Aside from the fact that garlic and onion can bring inflammation because of oxalates and everything else.
It's amazing, though, how your taste will change if you allow it to. In the past, I never could make even a pound of ground beef without an entire Vidalia onion in it and like 2 big heaping spoons of garlic. Yeah. And now I mean, Joe will tell you, I can smell garlic like a mile away. I mean, sometimes we'll go to the Brazilian steakhouse, even not on Triple B and E, and I'll be like, I don't think I can handle the garlic, because what used to be like nowhere near enough. I mean, we would eat cloves of garlic. Now I feel like, whoa, what are you trying to do? Fight a vampire? And it's like not that much garlic on, but your tastes change.
Cindy said, Autumn already said her 2 picks for Keto Palooza are October 4th through 6th or the last weekend of September. Yeah, I know
Good.
she likes it to always be around the last weekend of September. Let's take a quick fade to black and come back with more comments.
It's going to be a great week.
There are lots of comments about the bidet. Carol said, does the bidet heat the water? Yes, it does.
It does.
If it's cold on, heck, no.
No, it's not. It warms it, and the seat warms up.
Yeah. Brenda said, I thought I would hate a bidet, but that is not the case. I really do like that. Was Rachel.
I really thought this is terrible. I'm not going to like this.
John said they sell bidet kits to add to a regular toilet, no remodeling. Well, that's what we have. We have Bio Bidet, I think is the brand. And yeah, but the problem with the
Sounds
good
like
ones,
it takes medical tests.
the problem with the good ones is you need to have electric, and you need to have electric like right next to the toilet. So in our bathroom, Rachel came home one day as I'm drilling holes through the outside wall because that was the closest electrical plug was on the outside.
All I could think of was he's putting electric to the toilet. I'm going to pee and electrocute myself. Like,
Right.
I am literally going to have a very bizarre obituary.
I just tapped into the outside
It's
electric.
going to have toilet in the title.
Yeah,
That's what I was worried
But
about.
that's why we have that. And then I did see that Andy said. By the way, this is Andy.
Yeah, I know.
I've never used the bidet. Sounds scary.
It's
and wet.
scary and wet. I know. That's what I thought it was going to be like that too, but then it's just like amazing.
And then Lady Fritzer said, anyone have a toilet that's also a bidet? Does it work? My mother and sister have it.
Yeah.
They're expensive though. They're like $1,000 for the Toto.
I've talked to some different people from some different Asian countries, and they said it's much more popular there. Like, more people have it.
Many
there.
Asian countries don't have toilet paper.
Really? Well, they didn't say that they didn't have toilet paper, but just a couple people I've
places
talked
in
to.
Asian countries don't have toilet paper. They solely use like the Toto bidets. That's
I
where it
have to
became
have that,
popular.
too.
It became popular. Like that's where it really came. The Toto, like everybody had them, but they're expensive.
It's not a substitute. It works in conjunction.
Chris said, worst part about getting a bidet, every other toilet doesn't have one.
Right. You do notice that right away.
Okay, so let's move on. Next one's from John.
Hey, John, it seems official. I think I finally ended my stall. My weight has been within a 10-pound range for about 15 months. The only time it dropped lower was the first week of Triple B and E back in April, but returned to the same range shortly after that. Over the last 3 weeks, my weight dropped from the high end of that range to 4 pounds under that range, and the only small change I made had nothing to do with my diet. It was a bit of low weight, high rep exercise, using my total weight loss since starting keto as resistance. That's a great way to use that. 4 simple exercises with 50 pounds of resistance and as many as reps as possible, 2 times a week so far, hoping to work up to 5 eventually. Looks like I'll be adding 5 pounds to my resistance next week. Oh, the exercises: bench press 20 reps, lat pull down 80, back extensions 150, and ab crunches 150. I guess all I needed was a bit more muscle to start losing weight again.
That is awesome, John. So proud of you. And again,
Really
we talk
awesome.
about this all the time. Only 80% of your health has to do with the food you're putting in your mouth. The other 20% is sleep. You need to work on that one. Stress management. Kind of need to work on that one. And then movement. You need to get some movement in. You don't need to go to the gym for 5 hours a day. You don't even need to lift weights 5 days a week. You want to 2 or 3 times a week work on functional fitness and do some of the basics. Push-ups, pull-ups, squats, and planks. That's what John is doing and is immediately having a result. Then once every 7 to 10 days, you want to do some type of a sprint exercise. It doesn't have to be running. It's just balls to the wall in 20-second stints. So get on an exercise bike as hard as you can for 20 seconds. Let your heartbeat recover. Do that 4 or 5 times. But any kind of full force, until you're out of breath. All the rest of the times you're doing stuff, you're not trying to tax your heart. And it's not about cardio. Cardio is not going to help you lose weight. It's just not. What's going to help you lose weight and maintain the weight loss is building more muscle like John's doing.
I'm really proud of you, John. And here's the thing, sometimes we just have to ask ourselves, like we say a lot of times, like, I want this so bad. I want this so bad. Do you want it bad enough to lift for it? Do you want it bad enough to strength train for it? Like for John, he had his diet on point. What he needed to start getting the ball rolling again was move his body, strength train. And I loved that instead of him saying to himself, I've only lost this much weight, because that's what we say a lot, right? Begin there and say, I am going to lift what I lost, like, and repetitively. I love that. And I love that instead of it being like, okay, I lost a couple more pounds. Well, guess what that means? It means that it goes from my body down to what I have to pick up. So as he loses his weight, he's growing in what he has to pick up, which I think is amazing.
Next one we have is from Tina.
Hey, Tina.
Haven't posted in a while. Just want to share some victories. My 28-year-old son has gone keto. He's dropped 48 pounds so far. His clothes are getting loose. His coworkers have commented on his skin looking healthier. He's doing great, and he says he is about 100 to go. I'm so happy for him. Also, I'm now coaching 3 coworkers who have asked me for help.
Wow.
It's like we're starting a trend at work. They're also doing great so far. I've recommended channels and groups, including 2 Crazy Ketos, of course.
Thank you.
And I'm excited to see their successes, building a local community. I hope to start having some area meetups in 2024 at a local barbecue place.
Wow.
Eventually hope to have a conference in our beautiful little history-rich town.
Tina, this is what it's all about. Thank you so much for checking in and for being an encouragement to so many people who probably are wanting to see that same transformation in their life. They're like, gosh, I wish the people at work would catch on. I wish my kid would catch on. Plant a seed and trust it to grow. Like, that's what you're doing. Like, I don't see her yelling at her son to do it. I see that he probably watched her do it, and after she maintained success, probably was like, okay, I'm willing to give this a try. Same with your coworkers. People are seeing you. They're watching you. You don't think that you're planting a seed, and you don't think that they're noticing the change, but they are. They're noticing things that's happened, and they're following along with you, and they may start to ask some questions, and their first response to your answers may be, I couldn't possibly do that. But give them time. Give them grace, give them patience, and they will come around.
I just want to say Lynette is going to Alaska.
Yay!
So she said join her, right?
Yes, yes. That's
next
awesome.
one is from Tammy.
Hey, Tammy. My mom is 81 years old. She lives in assisted living. She doesn't want to hear about my way of eating. I try to do so lovingly and show by example. She's also okay with taking whatever meds the doctor prescribes, which is a lot. Now that I know better, this is so hard to watch. I took her to a doctor appointment recently and protein shakes came up. Doctor said it wouldn't hurt, which I agree, but not the Ensure he said they use in the hospital. I told them both I would do some research and get back to her with the best one. The only thing I can think to do is make up some keto child shakes for her. What does everyone think? Yes, we think that this is a brilliant idea, and this is totally making your love a verb. Is this going to be a pain in the butt to maintain? Yes, it will. Yes, it is a pain in the butt to have to cook for yourself and also think about prepping keto chow for your relative and bringing it to the assisted living facility and making sure that they have what they need. It is an absolute pain in the butt. You know what else it is? It's love.
Yep.
And love is a verb. It is an action word. If you want to help somebody like connect with keto, invite them over to dinner and make them a keto meal. That's an instant connection because they just ate it. They just ate keto. If for only one night in the entire week, they could eat keto if they eat it at your house. Pack somebody a perfectly keto lunch and say like, hey, I made lunch for you. Don't preach to them. Just make them a beautiful lunch. That's how we love people. And I'm so proud of you for even contemplating this because I know this is hard. This is a huge challenge before you. But we can say to ourselves like, I really hate what the doctor is saying, or we can actually do something about it and try to help somebody eat what is right if we don't want them to eat Ensure.
Here's the thing. Like all of those meal replacement shakes they give in hospitals, they're garbage. They're absolute garbage. Dr. Sivis, when we interviewed him about our labs a couple of years ago, he said, listen, you want to You want to help somebody gain a bunch of weight real quick. Give them what the diet is that they recommend for somebody who just had gastric bypass surgery, which
Yeah.
is insane, right? You think about, I just got a gastric bypass surgery to lose weight, yet the food that you're recommending I eat is going to make me gain weight because it's like things like Ensure and stuff. That stuff is garbage. Get Keto Chow. First of all, Keto Chow tastes better. It's going to give them all the vitamins and nutrients that they need, and it doesn't have dextrose and sugar and corn syrup and everything in it. I want you, Tammy, to reach out to Anthony DiPetrillo in our group, okay?
Yeah.
So Anthony actually works in assisted living. He actually is like the head chef or one of the chefs in the one that he works in. He like oversees everything, and he can tell you all the rules about assisted living and like what you can bring in and how they can't tell you no and things like that.
But how to present it.
And how to present it properly. The one thing that, and I love this is a suggestion from Kim Howerton last year, when you go into places like nursing homes and assisted living and stuff like that, don't ever say like that they're allergic to like dextrose or they're allergic to having Ensure. Say like they're intolerant to it, because you can't prove an intolerance, but they could prove
an allergy or an
allergy thing. So just go and say like, listen, I don't want you giving my mother, my grandmother any sugar. She's intolerant to it. And then they just can't give it to him anymore. But reach out to him. He can really guide you on how to get Keto Chow into her diet in the assisted living position. But again, it's assisted living. So I would just make it and bring it in and say, Mom, drink this. It tastes better. Turn it into an ice cream, right?
Yes. Oh my goodness.
I did want to just point out, Lori said this, so let me move this off of this slide. She said, I looked at the 2025 cruise and there is also a note. The $50 per person registration fee is non-refundable if you decide to not start or complete a reservation. Okay, thank you for letting us know that. So I did not know that, Lori. So yeah, so if you put that $50 deposit down, it's not refundable. But it also, you will still have to go and do the full deposit once she gets all of the cabins.
I just want to make sure if there's a possibility.
Yeah, Chris
to me,
also put that.
It's worth it because I really want to go on this thing.
Yeah,
like I really want to go.
Debbie's going to get you the best rates because I've looked at Alaska cruises. She's going to get you the best rates, especially considering it's a group cruise, so we get cheap rates as it is, or a little bit cheaper. And then in addition, she wants to book it the second they come out. It won't get cheaper than that. They only go up. Next one is from Jessica.
Hey Jessica, does anyone know how long carnivore snacks will last in the fridge after opened?
Who has leftover carnivore snacks?
I know, right? You usually eat the whole bag. You know, it's not the cheapest thing in the world, Joe. Like sometimes the cost of it alone makes me
when you make your own. That's why we don't buy it.
We make our own a lot.
So we will occasionally buy carnivore crusts, which is the same thing basically. But for the most part, we just make our own. We actually have a video on how to make your own. I call it carnivore chips, right? I think that's what I call it.
We tried to not say crisps or snacks.
Right. So
chips it is.
Super easy to make. All you need is a dehydrator, and then the best way is with a meat slicer, or you can buy it already thin sliced, like 1 millimeter thin. But here's the thing about whether mine or the ones that you buy from Carnivore Snacks or Carnivore Crisps, there's fat on it. It's not jerky. So they're basically slicing it super thin. I'm telling you how they make it. I have a video on how they make it. They slice it super thin, and then they put it in at like 165 degrees in a dehydrator, in an oven kind of thing for several hours. That's what makes it so delicious that you still have the fat. The problem is fat, when you expose it to oxygen, becomes rancid, and they go bad. So when you have it in that container, you're fine. But once you open it up, you're now introducing air and moisture, and that fat's going to go rancid, even in the refrigerator. I wouldn't have an unopened bag, whether it's an opened bag, whether it's ours or one of the ones you buy, for more than a couple of days in your refrigerator, because the fat's going to end up going rancid. Now, if you open up the bag, eat half of it, which is, for me, I'm going to eat the whole bag generally, and then have a vacuum sealer and vacuum seal it back and then put it in the refrigerator, it will last longer. Because again, you're taking out all of
All
the
of the air.
oxygen and the air out of there. So that would be the best way to do. Or just eat the entire package. What I like to do is, like, when we make ours, I just made 10 pounds of it. And so when you do it, I seal it in the bags for what I consider a serving, which is like 5 or 6 pieces. That gives me lots of protein, and I just eat all of that within the same day or within 10 minutes.
Now, I do know that we were speaking to somebody at Keto Palooza, and they said that like they were making their own carnivore chips, but it still was coming out in like a jerky consistency.
It's too thick.
Slice it even thinner. As thin as you're like, gosh, that looks very thin. Slice it thinner. The thinner, the better.
The thinner you slice it, the more it becomes like a potato chip.
Yeah.
So I hate using things from not keto, but this is, everybody can identify it with this.
You need to have a visual reference.
So you have like a jerky is going to be like, what was like the wavy Lay's, thick ridges, like very, very thick. And then like something like a carnivore crisp or something like that is going to be thin, like the thin you can see through
like
Wise potato chips, right? Or even thinner than that.
Yeah.
So you want it thin, because when it's thin, it's going to like melt in your mouth and it's no longer chewy.
That's why I like dehydrating the like the cheesesteak, like the steak-um type of making a meat thins out of that, because that is very thin and it gives you kind of a point of reference of like, gosh, that is thin, because you're thinking, if I don't get this down really quickly, it's gonna melt almost in my hands.
And honestly, the carnivore chips are almost half that.
Right.
It's just that that's why we do it with frozen meat. We don't do it with like regular meat, because it'll be much more difficult to lay down.
Exactly.
Next one is from Alyssa.
Hey, Alyssa, if I want to monitor my blood sugar related to specific foods or meals and I don't have a CGM, how soon after eating should I check my blood sugar?
So, this is a great question. So if you don't have a CGM and you want to check yourself with foods, first of all, the best way to do this is don't eat foods that could possibly spike your glucose. So if you're really worried about this, then what you would do is stick to meat and vegetables and things like that. But if you're looking at, okay, well, I want to know, does Chalk Zero spike my glucose? Because it does spike a lot of people's glucose. What you want to do is you want to measure your glucose before you consume it. I always tell people measure it 2 or 3 times. Yes, it's a lot of sticks, and it's a lot of like those sticks. But the problem is that all of these glucose monitoring devices, whether it's a CGM or it's a blood sticking one where you stick your finger, they have a 20% margin of error, which means you could check your glucose and you could get 100, but it could really be like 85.
Ooh.
And so you definitely want to check it a couple times to make sure you didn't get a bad reading. The other problem with it is what was going on before. So make sure when you are going to check first, calm, relaxed. If you just got into an argument, don't check your glucose, because you're going to have an elevated glucose anyway. So check it before you eat it. Then you want to check it at 30 minutes. If you're having an impact, it's going to start going up. At 1 hour, you would check it again. That's where it should be at the peak of whatever it is. So if your glucose was 80, after 1 hour, let's say it's 110, 120, that should be the peak. Then check it again at 2 hours. It should be down to normal or on its way back down to normal. Again, depends on where you are with your health metabolically, but that should be the cycle. The more insulin resistant we are, the more it could go up, and the longer it's going to stay up there. But again, I always would recommend, if you're checking foods, do 2 or 3 sticks each time just to make sure. And also, while you're waiting to check your blood after you've eaten it, don't go do exercise and stuff. That's all going to throw it off. You literally want to, if you really want to know what this does, like when we used to do a lot of glucose testing on products,
you literally have to go lay down.
You literally like would eat it, check your blood, eat it, go lay down for a half hour, eat it. That's why I don't do that many of anymore, because doing a good glucose test on a product, it requires about 3 hours of your life where you can't do anything.
Right.
You can't do anything that's going to stress you, any activity. You can't go clean the house. It's 3 hours.
I would go do like a basket of laundry, like change over the laundry and start folding one, and that would impact it. Like that's how little, that you do. Cynthia says the Oscar Mayer lunch meat roast beef makes a great meat chip. We'll have to try that. I've never tried that before. And Mary says if you can read the Fearless Friday, post through your chip that you've made, then it is thin enough.
That's-
If you cannot see what you're trying to read, if you can't use it and see through it and read something, then it's too thick.
If you don't know what Fearless Friday is, that is a weekly newsletter post, inspirational blog post that Rachel puts up specifically for our channel supporters, and we greatly appreciate you guys for supporting us. Next one's from Tony.
Hey, Tony.
What keto fiber supplement do you all recommend? Metamucil is full of garbage. None. You don't need any.
Butter and salt.
So, yeah, if you want to get things flowing, increase butter,
Are you gonna
increase
tell on
fat,
me?
increase
You're
salt.
you're laughing.
I was not gonna. Now I have to, because now they all want to know.
I was like, I haven't pooped, Joe. I mean, this is a weird, like, on your way to church conversation. And he's like, well, do you think you've eaten enough butter and salt? And I'm like, no. And he's like, okay.
There you go.
There you go.
You don't need as much fiber as you think you do. If you absolutely want to add some fiber, there's only two ways I'm going to, aside from have some vegetables, some low-carb vegetables. The only way I'm going to tell you to increase your fiber is include things like flaxseed. You can have like flaxseed crackers, or you can use the bread from Fox Hill's Kitchen, or gum acacia, which is why I always tell people, like, the only fiber that I really have no problem deducting
Yes.
out of a product is gum acacia, which you'll find in Keto Chow. You'll find in like the better MCT oil powders like Perfect Keto. Like, gum acacia is a fiber that is really good for your gut, and it actually helps your body promote ketones.
But if you've ever done a keto chow challenge, or you started using it for like multiple times a week, you probably experienced some bathroom pyrotechnics, because that's what we did, because you were not used to that acacia fiber, and then when it hits you.
Right. And then add in the magnesium.
Hello.
Just making sure it's not somebody saying that we're having a problem on our stream. But yeah, you don't need as much fiber as everybody says you do in the standard American diet. Remember, we're not doctors, nurses, or health professionals, but I have done a lot of study on this subject.
We don't have as much waste.
And we've experienced this for ourselves.
Yeah.
You can also get some fiber from nuts and seeds and berries and things like that, but you really don't need to take an external fiber supplement.
But it's very...
It can actually clog you up more.
But it's actually can be kind of mentally upsetting when you go from a standard American diet to keto, because you're not thinking of the fact that it's waste. Waste is what, like, going to the bathroom a lot is representative of, this is all of the stuff my body didn't have use for and is discarding. You know, it's like we always would joke about corn being useless because you'd poop it out and it looks the same as when you took it in, right? Because my body can't do anything with it. So yeah, that's waste. That's true waste. We have less waste. Like, if you're eating,
you should poop less.
You should poop less. Like, that's not you doing life incorrectly. Like, you will have less waste because
Talk with Rachel.
You're not. We
just need Nurse Cindy.
You're not having as much waste. I'm so jealous of everybody that got to spend this past weekend with Nurse Cindy, and also Dr. Barry and Nisha. They were at the Utah meetup at Keto Chair this past weekend, and I know they did an incredible job.
Cindy said I tried posting on Too Crazy Keto's Facebook page, but could not understanding why for sure. Go ahead and message Rachel.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Rachel. We'll double check it.
Unless you were posting a video of some sort, a link to something, then that will not get approved. But if you are just like sharing a post that's just a picture of yourself and not a moving active video, then that's
just a reminder for all of our social media. We ask, do not post any videos,
links,
not to anybody's
no
channel,
Instagram
not to
links.
Dr. Barry's, not to anything. And it's not that we're trying to be mean or we don't like Dr. Barry. It's just easier to say no across the board, because what we found was we were having people go in and actually post links to other channels, promoting themselves, and most of the time they were people infiltrating our group, posting a video, hey, I'm making this, and then somewhere in there they're trying to sell you exogenous ketones. So the easiest way for us is no across the board. If there is a video like from Dr. Barry that you want to tell people about, just going, hey, Dr. Barry just put this great video up. Anybody in our group's going to know how to find it just going over there. Or you could message us and say, hey, can you post this? And then we will. But it's just easier to say, like, no across the board. We're not the only keto YouTuber that has this rule. And it's, again, even not to make ourselves big. It's to protect all of you guys.
Well, and I'm sorry, but I cannot commit to watching every video to make sure that it is safe.
It is why we have in our Facebook group turned on that all original posts have to get approved because we just had too many
You'd be
nonsense
surprised
things
what
coming in.
I've been catching
But
lately
that
with
is
that.
not in our Mighty Networks
Yeah.
group. So, and we spend more time in Mighty Networks. So go over and join Mighty Networks for free. Members.2krazyketos.com. Next one is from Larry.
Hi, Larry.
Can we drink non-alcoholic flavored sparkling waters like LaCroix, Bubbly, and others on beef, butter, bacon, and egg? This is like skating kind of thing. Have we consumed LaCroix, Bubbly, and other things on beef, butter, bacon, egg? Yes, we have. Would I tell you absolutely don't do it? No. Just make sure you're not getting sweetened one. Just understand that they all do have natural flavors, which can have some things. They can hide a lot in natural flavors. Although I can tell you that we did, every time we've done beef, butter, bacon, egg, we have consumed them and not had any issues. I can't tell you for sure that you'd be better if you didn't have them. It just depends. But for the most part, I would say you're fine. Especially if you're just drinking ones that have a little bit of flavoring. I've just learned to just have like regular old seltzer water.
For instance, you've got LaCroix, like this is seltzer that we've made at home that has no coloring to it, just bubble water, okay?
Right. And it's got Dr. Berry's mineral drops.
Then you're going to have LaCroix, which is like basically if, let's say it's Key West lime flavored, it's like what would happen if you dropped a lime in there and then quickly took it out. It's not like a huge flavor, it's just a flavor. But then you'll go to some place like Walmart or Publix and they'll have their own brand of a bubbly carbonated beverage.
But it has sweeteners.
But it has sweetener in it.
Right.
That is what you really want to avoid.
The only thing about them is for some people they can spark like a desire to have something
I want
else.
something
Especially
sweet now.
like the limoncello from LaCroix.
Yeah.
Like that to me, it's like eating lemon pie.
It's desserty tasting.
Next one is from Margaret.
Hey Margaret, is beef gelatin okay on Triple B?
Absolutely, it's from beef. So I would even say if you want to have Knox gelatin, which is fine, which is from pig. If you're curious, what's the difference? Knox comes from pigs, and then obviously beef gelatin comes from cow.
Yes.
But yeah, absolutely fine if you want to thicken up a gravy, add some gelatin into it. Next one's from Nicolette.
Got my butterscotch keto chow in today. I was going to make the pancakes everyone was raving about, but I don't have full-fat Greek yogurt and can't find it anywhere near me. Can I use the Greek yogurt that I have?
Absolutely. So full fat is not 100% fat. So if you're looking at like faje, what color? It's like a dark blue, right?
Yeah.
It's like dark blue. I think they'll say it's like 5% or something like that. But I prefer doing the full fat ones. We're keto. We're not low fat. We shouldn't be eating low fat. Understand when it comes to milk and dairy products, low fat, even if the label doesn't say it, is higher carb because low fat, more sugar. If you know somebody in your life that drinks milk, just plain out milk, which we shouldn't because we're the only mammal that drinks milk after we've been weaned, make sure to tell them whole milk. You don't want to drink low-fat milk or especially skim milk. You definitely, because it's just got more sugar in it.
It's like sugar water.
So, and it's not that they're adding sugar, it's the way the process
taking
of
out the
making milk
fat,
is.
yeah.
So you want to eat the full-fat milk. Again, on keto we shouldn't because it's very high in sugar, but that's why we use Fairlife when we make our yogurt. I would recommend using Faje yogurt. That one is going to be really good. Any Greek yogurt's going to be good. We make our own because it's lower in carb. The way ours becomes lower in carb
and
is
it's easy.
We use a milk that has 50% less sugar than what most companies are going to use, and then we strain off more whey. We do have a recipe video on how to make yogurt. It's super simple. All you need is an Instapot, and you can actually do it with the sous vide as well.
Right.
Next one is from Michelle.
Hey, Michelle, can anybody recommend a brand of unflavored but salted pork rinds?
Pretty much any pork rind in the store that's unflavored is clean. What you want to do is just turn over the back and you should see like pork rinds and salt or pork and salt. If there's an oil listed, it means that they've cooked it in an oil that isn't its own lard. If you just see like pork and salt, that means they cooked it in its own pork fat. If you see pork, salt, and canola oil, then they're cooking in canola oil. Ignore
Avoid that.
But almost every gas station I've ever been in has clean, unflavored. The problem with pork rinds is when you get the flavor ones. That's where they start adding dextrose and maltodextrin and all that kind of stuff. But like Sam's Club sells a big giant tub. Those are super clean.
Should you be using vanilla keto core chow with coffee on beef, butter, bacon, and eggs?
No.
Because it's got sweetener
in it. And also it has sweetener in it and has gum acacia, and we're not having any of that stuff on beef, butter, bacon, and egg. Two more. Derek.
Just my N=1 and maybe a PSA for anyone who struggles with psychiatric disorders. I had a rough day on Tuesday. My mood was in the tank. I thought about what I had eaten on Monday and realized I had a very low fat eating day on Monday. It was all real healthy keto food, but not much fat. Trying to think if this has happened before, but I truly believe that not eating enough fat will cause my mood to fall. Sorry for the random musings. Do not be sorry, Derek. Anyone else feel the same? Eating keto has definitely made my psychiatric problems go away in general. This is the case for anybody, I think, that is doing keto for brain health. I am one of those people, Derek, and like you, I eat a much higher fat to protein ratio than Joe.
Yeah.
That's probably more than a lot of different people. It's probably more like 3-to-1 for me, fat to protein. So, and I do find that it makes an extreme difference in my mood.
So people complain all the time, like my ketones aren't high enough. First of all, you don't need high ketones, especially the longer you're on keto. A lot of times the lower your ketones are going to be because your body becomes fat adapted. Now, if you're somebody like Derek or other people who maybe you're doing keto for mental health issues, great book, Brain Energy.
Yeah.
From Dr. Chris Palmer. Amazing. He's seen some amazing results having patients that have mental disorders and putting them on keto. Definitely highly recommend read that book. But again, it's about the fat content. If you look at back when keto first started being used for children with epilepsy, they were eating like a 90 to 95% diet. So 90 to 95% of their calories were coming from fat. The fat is what becomes ketones. I'm not saying lower your protein.
No.
Okay?
It's not
you still
a
need
seesaw.
protein. But you do need to increase fat. And many times when we increase fat, all of a sudden we'll see our ketones go up.
Right.
Unless we're just way overeating it where our body doesn't need to produce any ketones. But we'll see our ketones go up. We'll get more mental clarity. I know I definitely have that if I'm not eating enough fat, like I kind of get foggy and my ketones will drop down. We have one more from Tony.
Hey, Tony, the more you know. 3 tablespoons of ketchup has more sugar than a glazed donut. This is a powerful statement, and it's something that we need to have eyes on because as much as there's like propaganda that tries to make the case for why our children need sugar in their lives to have a happy and fulfilled childhood, there's also propaganda that's getting your eyes off the fact that there's a lot of sugar in things that should not have sugar. When you start to see the sugar in like tuna fish packets, or you're seeing sugar, like copious amounts of sugar in ketchup and sauces and things that you're like, well, this is just add-ons. So you could have a perfectly good meal of like, chicken, or you could have perfectly good steak, but then they're going to put a sauce on it or a gravy that has a ton of garbage sugar in it.
Yeah, when we were at Keto Palooza, they had eggs and they put ketchup out, and anybody knows me knows I do like ketchup on scrambled eggs. And I picked up the packet and I was like, nope, put that down. And someone had asked why. Oh, it's only a little bit. Because there's more sugar in it than there is in a donut. And like one packet, by the way, isn't going to be enough for me. I remember years ago before keto, Rachel would literally sit there with the packets, and now she knows why. Oh, it was the sugar.
It wasn't
the tomato that I wanted.
I would get like a whole bunch of packets from McDonald's, and I would just be sucking down the ketchup packets because that was like I might as well have just been sitting there with a box of M&Ms. Like it was just sugar.
It's like I see people go, well, I'm giving my kids orange juice for breakfast. I'm like, why? Oh, because it's good for them. There's more sugar in that glass of orange juice than a can of Coke. You might as well give them a can of Coke because there's more, almost twice as much in some cases, sugar in that in that little glass of juice that you're giving them than there is in soda. I mean, that's why juicing fruits is one of the worst things that's ever happened.
Eat the fruit.
Because you think about, you're juicing it, you're only getting the juice, which is juice and sugar. You're taking out any of the things that possibly could give you benefits, like the fiber in it. Think about an orange. If you've ever made your own orange juice, it takes like 5 or 6 or 7 oranges to make that glass of orange juice.
Right.
Could you eat 5 or 6 or 7 oranges in that single sitting that you would drink the glass of orange juice? No. But you can drink that much. And again, you're getting so much sugar. Let's jump into some of the comments from today. Joanna said, question for anyone, what is the best way to cook a boneless beef shoulder roast? I was thinking crock pot. I also have an air fryer. Crock pot or sous vide or low and slow in the oven, 250 degrees. To me, low and slow is always going to be the best, or an Instant Pot, crock pot.
It really breaks it down.
Slowing it down is always going to give you a better cut of beef. We've got from Andy, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
It's Andy Dwyer. In case you don't recognize my name, I really have to change
No,
it
you don't. I remember that's your nickname is Lady Laughs a Lot.
Miss Island Girl, good morning from Nova
Good morning.
Scotia. Picking myself up, shaking myself. I felt so much better eating keto. Fell off the wagon hard following the death of my mom and my husband.
Oh my goodness.
Trying to find the path forward at 63.
I'm so glad that you're here. I'm very sorry for your loss. That is a great loss, but I'm glad that you're here and you're with people who love you. So I'm glad that you're here and that we can do this in community.
Pamela said,
Hey,
I
Pamela.
just had to come up with $10,000 for dental work, and right now I cannot afford a trip, but we'll look forward ahead to videos.
We get
I
it.
feel your pain.
Yes. It was $30,000 last year of dental work for Joe.
That's actually, can you believe it's been almost 2 years? And like, I didn't finish. I just like, I gave up. I have upper and lower partials that have to come out every day, and the lower I can't do anything about because I'm missing all the bone where all of the partial is from here all the way back. But the upper, like, I need 1, 2, 3, I think 4 implants or 3 implants, and I don't want to spend the money. It's like, I'm just like, fine, I'll just stick. I'd love to do it, but I don't want to spend the money, and also that means no diving for like 6 months. And so, like, right now I definitely can't do it. I'm 2 weeks away from my exams.
But we understand that.
I definitely understand it, and definitely put your health first.
Yeah.
Teeth, super important. I learned that the hard way. Right?
Well, even in the decision of like getting the partials that we did, a lot of the decision on how you fix your teeth was keeping in mind, we eat meat. That's what we do. So like he couldn't have things that would make it impossible for him to chew anymore, or things that would really impact
like I wanted to rip them
his
all
taste.
out. And she's like, no,
don't do that.
You're not going to enjoy that.
You eat meat.
Tony said hello from the mountains in Arizona.
Tony.
12 hours in the truck yesterday, getting home from the meetup in Utah.
I'm so glad you got to go though, Tony. I hope you had an awesome time.
Helen.
Hey, Helen.
Joe, I want to make your bacon jerky in the new Anova oven. I was thinking of using a dehydrator setting. How would you do this? Any tricks or tips? Thank you for everything you and Rachel do.
Thanks,
Helen.
Helen.
Yeah, what's cool about the Anova Precision, we really should make a full video on the Anova.
No, let's just talk about it.
What's really cool about the Anova is it does everything. So you don't necessarily have to use the dehydrator function, but what's nice about the Anova is it will bring your temperature really, really low. That's why it can be a dehydrator. So if you're going to put it in there, set it for like 160, 165 degrees, turn off the humidity. So just make sure your humidity is at 0. Same thing, about 4 or 5 hours. The only problem with cooking in the Anova is you only have 2 trays. That's the only problem. That's why I have a dehydrator. People say, isn't your Anova a dehydrator? Yes, but I'm running 2 10-tray dehydrators almost every 3 days because she wants meat thins, which takes all 10 trays. And then I want meat crisps, and then we both want bacon jerky. So we usually will make bacon jerky at least once every 2 weeks. We'll make 15 pounds of it. That takes both dehydrators. And then once a week, we'll make a meat thins for Rachel and a meat crisps for me.
Because I go through them that much. I did see it was Serena's anniversary today. Happy 7th anniversary, Serena. We love you guys so much. Just like this most adorable couple, and glad you guys are celebrating with a trip to Yellowstone today.
That's where I want to go.
How fun is that?
Lolo said, I did get the
Lolo.
Kasori 6-rack dehydrator and a small air fryer since it's just for me. I'm excited.
I'm excited.
The Kasori, listen, the Kasori 6-rack, that's what Rachel's mom bought.
She loves that thing.
It's awesome. It's just her. And if you're by yourself, it's
a
more
workhorse.
than enough. I think it is a great dehydrator. The only difference between the 6-rack and the 10-rack is the size of the racks and how much it holds. You will see it's got a little bit less power, but that's because it doesn't need as much power. But
Yeah.
I actually bought one and then returned it because it was too small for me. But I have tested them out. And they take the same amount of time. It's just the smaller one doesn't need quite as much heat as the larger one. But it is an awesome dehydrator for about $120. John, Rachel,
Hey, John.
is that your single coffee experience? I swear I only had one cup of coffee.
I only had one coffee. You would be so proud of me. So I can tell you right now, my coffee experience is spent in my morning reading time. So I'm drinking my first coffee experience at 5 a.m. And so during this challenge, I really won't be able to share my coffee experience with anybody because it's already happened before we live stream for anything. Maybe 11 on 11. But yeah, this is where I'm gonna drink my my ice water in. And you know what? I love cold ice water, and getting back to it, it's actually refreshing. I'm always surprised that Rachel, you love ice cold water. Why don't you just drink that more?
FMP Philbert said, I'm pretty sure my son has a full addiction to junk food. I have tried to buy all healthy foods, for him, but I can't control what he gets at friends in school.
Yeah.
He has literally taken money to buy junk.
Our kids have done that as well. But what I like to think is, as much as my interaction is possible, they're going to get good food then.
Right. Again,
So
we can't control, like
everything.
you said, what they do at school if we have younger kids, but we can control what we're going to give them in our house.
Right.
And so if they were getting junk food 100% of the time before, and now they're only getting junk food 30% of the time, they're still better than where they were.
So my dehydrator only goes up to 158 degrees.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, just want to go to the highest setting. S. Wilson, I wish
Stacey.
when my kids were little, I followed this lifestyle. But I didn't, and my adult kids are struggling with the same health issues.
Yeah.
They went to 2 different houses from divorce.
It's
Definitely know what that's like.
Totally a challenge with that. And I was just, I went out to breakfast with Caleb on Saturday, and he was talking about that. He's like, I know what I should be eating. We went out and he had perfectly keto breakfast. It was an omelet, and he had ham and some veggies in it, and was like, this is delicious. And when I stopped to be really intentional, I know what to eat, and I know it feels good in my body. And he's like, but Mom, it's really hard sometimes to make good choices, especially when they have bad choices at work. He counted it as a real blessing when he started just taking in his own food instead of just allowing free stuff they have a snack pantry at his job. And he's like, I just can't participate in that, even if it's free. Because he's like, from a college student perspective, there's 2 strikes. It's a highly palatable, overly processed food, and it's free. And you're a college kid with a very tight budget. So I understand the struggle. So he's like, that was a major win for me, is not to just take the free stuff.
Right. Teresa says, does your bidet have a blow dryer? It does, but we never use it. At least I don't. Do you use the butt dryer?
I do not use that.
I don't use
option.
the butt dryer. That is where the toilet paper comes into play for me.
I'm glad.
I don't have the patience. It's more of I don't have the patience to sit there for 2 minutes while this thing blows hot air.
I can get my hair cut, but it's waiting for the entire blowout. That's the struggle.
Andy, I had some kielbasa the other day. Thought it would be okay. My blood sugar went up 45 points really fast.
I'm telling you.
A lot of those do have a lot of sugar.
Oh my gracious. If you want to cry, go turn over the package of that horseshoe Hillshire Farm.
That's probably the one she had.
Sausage. We used to eat so much of that. We would
Thinking
get it.
we were eating healthy.
We thought we were eating healthy. We would buy that for the kids. I remember flipping it over and it saying like, there's like 7 or 8 servings. There was like a ridiculous amount of servings out of that little thing. And I'm like, I was lucky if me and Joe could split one of those rings because I would eat way more than that. But if you turn that Hillshire Farm kielbasa over and look at the ingredients on that and like the carbs, it makes you sick. Like, ugh.
Okay, John said chili has tons of spices. Isn't beef, butter, bacon, egg salt only? So no. So from day one of us working with Dr. Berry like 2 years ago, he said you can have some spices, but they should be limited.
Very limited.
And very clean. That's why we stick to the Redmond spices because I know they're clean. And we stick to just a little bit. Like even if we make a roast and we cover the outside, that's not a lot. It's maybe a tablespoon or 2 for the entire roast.
Yeah.
What you really have to be careful, though, is things with garlic and stuff. And I know somebody said that there was another person who made it, made a chili beef, butter, bacon, and egg compliant. Again, it's pretty difficult. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but to make a good chili with the amount of spice, it's no longer beef, butter, bacon, egg because it's got too many spices. You know, I've seen a lot of people who've made videos of like, okay, well, I'm making this a beef, butter, bacon, egg, and they're using like keto chow and stuff like that. I love keto chow, but it's not beef, butter, bacon, and egg. Beef, butter, bacon, egg, the way it was originally designed by Dr. Berry was beef being any ruminant animal, butter, which again, it's not eat sticks of butter. It's butter for cooking and flavoring your steak and things like that. Bacon or any kind of pork that's like 1-to-1, where higher fat, like pork belly, things like that, and then eggs. It wasn't fish. It wasn't, I can also have keto chow. So that's why people ask for recipes. There's not much recipes you can do with beef, butter, bacon, and egg.
31 days. We're already on day 2. Right. So like it is hard to say I'm going to tap out of keto chow until November 16th. Right. It's hard to say that. No one loves keto chow more than us. Like right. I will argue with someone who says they love keto chow more than us. We love it, but it's like anything. I love coffee, but I can go without more than 1 coffee experience a day for 31 days.
Cheryl said, Rachel, I'm the same way with garlic. My taste buds are so much more sensitive.
I'm glad I'm not the only one. I just had an eyelash go right into my ocular cavity.
Paulita said, Rachel, I laughed so hard when you said your obituary was going to have the word toilet in it.
I am so worried about that. Like, especially as somebody who worked for newspapers for a long time, like you would sometimes come across an obituary that you were like, this is truly news because it's very odd, the way they passed. And I'm like, please don't let my obituary have toilet in it.
Tonya, where can I sign up for the beef, butter, bacon, and egg challenge you guys are doing? Well, anybody can do it. Now, we're also holding a course where we kind of do extra live streams and have some videos and stuff like that. You can do that on Mighty Networks at members.2krazyketos.com. You join there for free, and then over on the left-hand side, there is a button where it says courses. Click on that, and you can join that there.
Do it from a desktop.
We're only on day 2, so you can still join.
Jump in. We will be having a live stream at 5 o'clock Eastern today for everybody who is a part of the challenge course.
Yep. John, meat thins with steak-um. Way to go. I had tried and I failed to crisp several times. Meat thins are easy peasy, perfect time, and stores well in the fridge.
It's great.
So somebody had posted in our Mighty Networks or in Facebook that they were having problems with steak-um, that they break apart. They all break apart. It's nothing special about the ones we get from BJ's. They will all break apart. The way you do it is you bring them out, they're frozen. Let it sit on the counter for about 2 minutes or so. Just enough so that you can pull them apart. You want to pull it apart while it's still frozen. So just grab 2 pieces. You want to grab 2 pieces of wax paper. Pull it apart. Lay them down while they're still frozen. Pull off the wax paper. Lay them all out. Now, once they're on there, I let them sit for 3 or 4 minutes before I salt them. Because if you salt them when they're still frozen, the salt kind of bounces everywhere. I let them defrost a little bit. Then I put the salt on. Then I put it in a dehydrator. But if they're breaking apart, don't try to separate and certainly don't separate the 2 pieces.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't want to try to put it on your dehydrator once they've all defrosted. You want to put it on there completely frozen. Michelle, Joe and Rachel's Saturday was my 61st birthday. been eating this way for 4 years.
Well, let's sing happy birthday to Michelle. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Michelle. Happy birthday to you. And many more, so many more, Michelle.
Okay, we are going to get off. So excited that you guys were able to join us today. We will be live again tonight at 5 p.m. inside of the course for beef, butter, bacon, and egg. We'll be back live on Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time from our RV. Forgot about that, didn't you?
Yes.
Hopefully we have no issues with our internet, all that kind of stuff.
Praying
We'll bring
like
our
an angel.
Starlink and everything. But again, please do us a favor. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that bell button so you're notified when we upload new videos. And don't forget to hit the like button on today's live stream. Have a great day, guys.
We
Bye.
love you.